Welcome to the Channe Show, hosted by yours truly, Kavita Channe. Today we're joined by the founder and principal of Kobi Karp Architecture and Interior Design, a firm that services residential and commercial clients all over the globe. Please welcome Kobi Karp. Thanks so much for joining us, Kobi. How is this lockdown and the coronavirus affecting your business?
Very interesting. The coronavirus and this event has really taken a complete different look and toll on the business. I have been through some trials and tribulations, domestic and international, on my business, but I've never had something like this where the whole world essentially shuts down. And we are here in Florida as a micro, but as a macro, we work domestically throughout the United States of America, and we also work internationally. Our clients basically share the same experience we do, whether they're in Spain, or whether they're in Italy, or whether they're in Mexico, or in Israel, or in Abu Dhabi, or Bahrain. Today I was communicating. Everybody's sharing the same experience. And then somebody said to me, Kobi, it's very interesting that we are all essentially on this lockdown while our friends in Beijing and or Shanghai are open for business. And I said, yes, I am going to be moving to China next week. And I'm going to be operating my operations from Shanghai, not Beijing. Shanghai is a little bit nicer, the weather. And I love Shanghai, so that's where I'll be moving to.
Well, it's funny you say that because in 2008, when we had the recession, you kind of recession-proofed your business because when that happened here, you took that abroad. And I'm not sure where you had locations, but I think it was Dubai and Russia.
Yeah, we had set up a branch office in Abu Dhabi. And in Abu Dhabi, which is about an hour and a half away from Dubai, we set up an office, but the traffic is very congested and very busy. So we have an office in downtown Abu Dhabi behind the Golden Souk Market. And then we have another office in El Raha Beach, which is outside we did housing for Etihad Airlines. And that's starting on the road towards Dubai. And then we have another office, which is towards the mountains, towards Saudi, which is in El Ain. It's a El Ain Wildlife Park and Resort community. So we had 3 different locations with 3 different physical offices. And those offices worked and serviced not only the UAE, but also KSA, Bahrain, Doha, Qatar, Moscow, because it's on the same time zone as you go north and south. So it was very nice to work in Abu Dhabi. And that's why it became such a hub for Emirates and Etihad as a destination, and even Qatar Airlines as a destination between the Far East, the Middle East, and then, if you will, the United States of America, the Americas and Western Europe. It's a very great location to be at, very accessible. So it was very nice to be there. And we just so happened that when the economy was sliding down in the United States of America, the work in the UAE and the Middle East was quite good at that point, because the barrel of oil was about $80, $90, $100 a barrel. So the money was there to do what we need to do on the infrastructure and to essentially build the country and the municipalities in the United Arab Emirates.
So now you have something like you mentioned earlier that is global. It's not just United States. So how is this affecting, say, your clients, residential versus commercial, globally? Are people still wanting to go ahead with projects?
From a business standpoint, my experience has been that if something like this happens, people pull back so much that the demand continues to build up and the resurgence will be greater than it was before. So I'm not concerned about it on the long run. On the short term, it's basically has frozen our businesses in their tracks. My office is still operational in Miami. I'm here physically in my office. And I have about 20 to 30% of my staff here who like to come here, who want to come here. But most people who have kids and the kids that are at school because the schools are closed, or they want to work out of their homes, we are working remotely because we have the technology to do so. I think that it's an opportunity now more so than ever before to take a step back. I think it's good for our civilization. I think it's good for a lot of people to stop the clock and think about what it is that we have done to this environment, that the environment is essentially doing to us. And it's no different than it was done to us 5,000 years ago. The Jews have Passover and they're talking about the plagues, right? The Christians have the resurrection with Easter Sunday. All of those big time events that have helped create civilization in one way or another is kind of interesting that it comes at this point in time. I think that we're not at the end. I think that this will go on for another couple of months until we have a vaccine, at least in our hand, that we can start to feel comfortable to go and deal with people and talk to people and breathe on people and people breathe on us and share experiences and thoughts and touch and feel, because that's what we are as humans. That's what we are as human race. It will not change. And that's what we need. We need that contact, that physical touch and the communication and looking somebody in the eye and their reactions and the little, that's what makes the world, develop on every level.
Absolutely. And can you just give us some of your recent projects that you're working on right now?
So right now we have a number of projects which are interesting because they are implementing these kind of concerns and issues. So we have the under construction. We have a beautiful hotel residence being built in Fort Lauderdale. It's called the Four Seasons. We have another project under construction in Wynwood, which is a very cool office building, which is an office which essentially appeals to the crowd of Wynwood and Miami, where it's a cutting edge element to Wynwood. It's not your typical building. And then from a function and operation and imagery as well. We have also started construction in Hallandale, for example, the SLS in Hallandale. It's a very unique golf course with indoor-outdoor facilities that will service Southeast Broward County and Northeast Dade County, where they come together in that location. And I think, so we have that going on, and we have a number of historic hotels going on in Miami Beach. Collins Park Hotel on Ocean Drive, we have which is by the Basque Museum. On Ocean Drive, we have this gorgeous grand dame of a hotel called the Tides Hotel. It's a beautiful high-rise that is about 80 years old now. So we have a number of projects that are under construction and moving forward because construction has not come to a halt in Miami. And then we have a number of projects that are in design that are moving forward. We just submitted the Raleigh Hotel for Michael Chabot in Miami Beach, which is preservation and restoration of 3 glorious buildings by one individual architect, Dixon, putting them together as a campus master site plan with a new building in the back. So those are the kind of things we're working on. It is exciting. There is an energy which is being built up and people are feeling kind of cooped up and ready to go and ready to get out and ready to charge. And, they feel like they've been boxed in this barn, or as some people told me, Kobi, we feel like we're on Noah's boat. Somebody let us on the boat. They closed it and they said there's a flood outside and we're on the boat. But, 40 days and 40 nights or whatever it is, maybe this time it'll be 80 days and 80 nights, we'll get out. But at the end of the day, it's interesting. I think that this will change. It'll come to a halt. And based on my experience with people, whenever it's been wars or issues or hurricanes, within a certain period of time, they come back with a vengeance more so than ever.
Absolutely. Now, Forbes has dubbed you an environmentalist, evangelist, a historian, and a tourist. And I know you're a guy that gets inspired by all of your travels. So how can this crisis and this disaster, or how is it going to inspire you moving forward with your work, your life, and your designs?
It already has. Kavita, my first degree was not architecture. My first degree was environmental design. And the purpose of environmental design is not only to study about the environment and understand the environment, which obviously is critical, but what it is that we and how it is that we fit into the environment and don't fit. And how do we affect it and how does it affect us? And so many times we think that we control the environment. I mean, as designers and architects, we always studied, let us chop down the forest and create these formal gardens, whether they're, in England or they're the gardens of Versailles. No, really the reality is that nature does control, and it's just a matter of time before nature comes back and takes over what nature originally had. I think this is an opportunity for us to reflect back on that. A lot of it as an architect, we have historically used materials like, these are pipes we use in our buildings, they're copper, right? And copper is a material which is arguably very safe because people have always used it. And what it does, it kills germs, which is why we as people originally used copper.
I have a copper tongue scraper.
Yes. If you go to India and other locations along the Silk Road, people did not have dishwashers or means and methods to wash their dishes. They would use copper silverware and copper pots and pans and cups to drink from on a daily basis in order to mitigate the risk. And that's why people are stepping back in. So we are implementing back to the simple things like copper and also the technology that we have today. We have ultraviolet rays lights that we can put in our air conditioning system that is basically the lungs of the building and let the light filter out the germs or the things that we want to take out of our breathing environment. And that's what we're getting into. Better filtration, both simple filtration and both light and other means and method. And again, the touching. We don't need to touch so much. Today we have eye syncing and eye recognition, and we can open up doors, we can open up car doors with it, we can open up cabinets, we can open up refrigerators with it. We can do a lot with it. We do not need to use our hands to do that. And it's not just for health purposes. Also, if you're handicapped, ADA, if you don't have full control of your body, if you're elderly, if you're a child and you want to open up something, you know, having an eye recognition, letting you do that, it's a good way to open up a cabinet, start a microwave, and so forth. You know, it's just so much better, healthier way to go about life.
So these are all the things that you're thinking of moving forward, you know, with this in mind, which I love. Thank you so much, Kobi. You are amazing. Your work speaks for itself. You are one of the best architects that I've ever seen, and we appreciate having you on the show.
Love you. Thank you.
Make sure to stay tuned for our next episode and subscribe to my YouTube channel.